The galaxy was vast and old, filled with thousands of alien civilizations that had ruled the stars long before humanity even learned to fly. When Earth finally joined the Galactic Council, it was supposed to be a new beginning, a time of peace, unity, and progress. But things did not go that way. From the first day, the older species looked at humans with caution and quiet fear. Humanity was growing too fast. In only a few centuries, humans had built colonies on Mars, on the moons of Jupiter, and even beyond Pluto. They were explorers, builders, dreamers, and sometimes destroyers. The Galactic Council called an emergency meeting in their shining space station above the planet Orion Prime. Representatives from hundreds of alien worlds gathered in the Great Hall. Their strange voices echoed across the massive chamber. At the center of it all stood the council speaker, a tall, insect-like being named Xyler, whose voice was cold and sharp. After long discussion, Xyler announced, "The Council has decided that humanity is forbidden from building or possessing any form of warship." The hall went silent. The human ambassador, a calm but proud woman named Elena Torres, rose to her feet. "That is not fair," she said firmly. "Every race here has a fleet to protect their worlds. Why single out humanity?" Xyler's dark eyes glowed faintly. "Because humanity cannot be trusted with such power. Your history is filled with wars. You destroy what you do not understand." Elena's voice shook, but she did not back down. "We have changed. We are part of this council now. We deserve the same rights." A deep rumble of alien murmurs filled the chamber. Some agreed, but most did not. The oldest races, the Vorn, the Ketheri, the Lyric, had already decided. They feared what humans might become. "The decision stands," Xyler said coldly. "Earth may keep its colonies, its trade, its science, but no warships, no military fleets. Any violation will be seen as an act of war against the entire council." The hammer of decision fell. The humans were outvoted. It was final. On Earth, the news spread like fire. The streets of New Geneva and the domes of Mars echoed with anger and disbelief. People shouted in protests, calling the ban an insult to human pride. Some were afraid, if the aliens had turned against them once, what would stop them from doing worse next time? Others were furious. They said humanity had never bowed to any empire before, and it would not start now. In the underground chambers of the United Earth Command, a secret meeting took place. The room was dim, lit only by the blue glow of holographic maps. Around the table sat generals, scientists, and leaders of Earth's colonies. At the head of the table stood Admiral Kane, a man known for his calm voice and sharp eyes. "They think they can cage us," he said quietly. "They think by banning warships, they can control what we might become." One of the generals spoke, "Sir, if we defy the ban, they'll attack us. We don't stand a chance against the council fleets." Kane nodded slowly. "True. If we fight them now, we lose. But if we build in secret, if we prepare for the day they come," he looked around the table, "then maybe humanity will survive." The room was silent. Everyone knew what he meant. A young engineer, Lara Voss, finally spoke. "You mean to build anyway?" Kane gave a faint smile. "Not warships. Not officially. We'll build something better." Lara's eyes widened. "You're talking about a new kind of fleet?" "Yes," Kane said. "Something they can't imagine. Something that will make them think twice before they ever threaten Earth again." He turned to the group. "We'll call it Project Iron Dawn." The name echoed through the room like a quiet storm. No one spoke for several seconds. Then one by one, heads began to nod. They all understood the risk. If the council found out, Earth could be destroyed. But if they did nothing, they would remain weak forever. Humanity had never been good at following orders, and this time would be no different. Months passed. The council believed humans had accepted the ban. Alien diplomats smiled and said peace was secure. But under the surface of Mars and deep beneath Earth's oceans, hidden construction began. Massive underground hangars were dug in secret. Materials were shipped under false names. Mining freighters were modified to carry parts that were never reported. Only a few thousand people knew the truth, and every one of them swore an oath of silence. In the shadows of the solar system, the first pieces of the Forbidden Fleet were coming together. Humanity was not building just warships, they were building a secret hope. Every bolt, every beam, every spark of fire was a promise that no one, not even the mighty Galactic Council, would ever tell humanity what it could or could not become. Admiral Kane stood on the balcony of the Lunar Command Base, looking down at the glowing Earth below. He whispered to himself, "They fear what we might build. Maybe they should." Behind him, the first schematics of the new fleet shone on the screen, labeled with two words that would change the galaxy forever: Project Iron Dawn. Months turned into years, and the Galactic Council believed humanity had learned obedience. The Council sent inspectors to Earth and Mars often, pretending to check force security compliance. Every visit ended the same way: humans smiled politely, offered guided tours of peaceful colonies, and hid their true purpose. What the aliens did not know was that beneath those colonies, deep under layers of rock and steel, something extraordinary was happening. Humanity was secretly building again. Project Iron Dawn had begun. Admiral Kane personally oversaw the operation. From his hidden base on the far side of the moon, he coordinated dozens of secret teams across the solar system. Each team only knew a small part of the plan. That way, even if one group was discovered, the project would remain safe. The real blueprints, the heart of the design, existed only in Kane's mind and in the memory cores of a single AI system called Argus. It was the most advanced artificial intelligence ever created, loyal only to humanity. Lara Voss worked day and night in the Martian shipyards. She was young but brilliant, a mechanical genius who had once designed colony transports. Now, under the cover of mining ship development, she created something far more dangerous. She was building the skeleton of the first human warship in over a century. The ship was enormous, nearly 2 kilometers long, shaped like a blade with dark armor that could bend light around it. It had no name yet. To the workers, it was only called Unit 1. The work was difficult and dangerous. Materials had to be moved in small shipments to avoid suspicion. The shipyard used fake cargo logs and false signatures to fool the council inspectors. Every day was a game of shadows. One mistake, one misplaced part, and the aliens would find out everything. One night, Lara stood on a high platform overlooking the unfinished ship. Sparks danced below as machines welded the metal plates together. "You know," she said to her assistant, "they banned us because they were afraid we might build something unstoppable." I think they were right. Her assistant, a tired young man named Eric, laughed softly. "Let's hope we finish it before they find out." On Earth, Admiral Kane faced his own challenges. Supplies were running low. The Council had restricted trade routes, making it difficult to transport key resources. But humans were clever. Old mining ships were secretly converted into cargo haulers. They carried mineral dust, which was actually nanoreactor fuel. Civilian stations on the edge of Saturn's rings acted as secret relay points. Humanity was learning to lie, to hide, and to build under the watchful eyes of those who sought to keep them weak. After 3 long years, the first phase of Project Iron Dawn was complete. Deep beneath the surface of Mars, the first ship, still unarmed and without engines, was ready for testing. Admiral Kane arrived quietly, escorted by a handful of trusted officers. When he saw the massive hull for the first time, he stood in silence. The ship looked alive, even though it had not yet moved. "It's beautiful," he said softly. Lara Voss stood beside him, her hands covered in grease and her eyes bright with pride. "It's not finished," she said. "But it's ready to breathe." Kane smiled faintly. "Then let's give it life." They activated the ship's core reactor for the first time. The lights across the hull flickered, systems hummed to life, and the silent ship began to glow faintly red. The power readings were far higher than anything human made before. The AI Argus came online, its voice echoing through the control room. "Core stable. Systems nominal. Awaiting command input. Lara grinned. She's awake. Admiral Kane placed a hand on the console. Welcome to the world, he said. You're the first of your kind. But you won't be the last. But the moment of triumph did not last long. A sudden alarm echoed through the base. One of the security officers shouted, "Incoming inspection fleet. 3 Council ships entering Mars orbit." Panic spread. If the inspectors came down and found the ship, the entire project would be exposed. Kane immediately took command. Seal the hangar doors. Shut down all power signatures. Hide every trace. Lara rushed to the control terminal, quickly rerouting power to underground batteries. We can't shut the core completely, she said. It'll leave a heat trail. Then make it look like geothermal activity, Kane ordered. Within minutes, the entire base went dark. From above, the alien inspectors scanned the surface of Mars but found nothing unusual, only a faint heat signal they assumed was volcanic. Still, one of them noticed something odd. His scanners picked up a strange metal signature buried deep underground, different from normal mining equipment. He frowned. Report this anomaly, he told his crew. The report was sent to the Galactic Council. On Orion Prime, the council members read it carefully. The humans are digging deeper than they should, said one. Maybe they are hiding something. Xyler, the insect-like speaker, narrowed his eyes. Increase surveillance. Send more probes. Back on Mars, Admiral Kane watched the alien ships leave orbit and exhaled slowly. That was close, he said. Lara nodded, wiping sweat from her face. They'll come again, she said quietly. Next time, we might not be lucky. Kane looked at the half-finished ship, its dark hull gleaming faintly in the low light. Then we'll be ready, he said. Finish the engines. Arm the ship. The day will come when we'll need her. As he turned to leave, Lara asked, What will we call her? Kane paused for a long moment. Not yet, he said. A name must be earned. Outside, the red dust of Mars swirled against the hidden doors of the underground base. Above, the stars shone cold and distant, unaware that beneath the surface, a secret power was growing. Humanity had been forbidden to build warships, but the first of many now waited in silence, ready to rise. Project Iron Dawn was no longer just a secret, it was humanity's destiny. The silence of Mars did not last forever. Despite all precautions, secrets have a way of slipping through cracks. Months after the inspection scare, strange rumors began to drift through the Galactic Council. Merchant captains reported faint energy readings near the asteroid belt, patterns that didn't match any known ships. Mining drones vanished without a trace. Satellite sensors picked up ghostly heat signatures that appeared for seconds and then vanished. The Council's analysts dismissed it at first. They said it was just background radiation or faulty data. But not everyone was convinced. The alien intelligence agency known as the Vorn Watch had been observing humans for decades. They believed humanity was too quiet, too obedient. And when humans go quiet, it usually means they are building something. On Orion Prime, the speaker Xyler called for an emergency meeting. The Great Hall filled again with the leaders of many worlds. There are reports of secret human activity beyond Mars, Xyler said. Unregistered stations, missing cargo ships, and strange power spikes. We must act before it's too late. Some members disagreed. The soft-voiced lyric ambassador argued that humans had followed the band for years. They have been peaceful, she said. Maybe this is a misunderstanding. Xyler's claws clicked together. Humans do not stay peaceful. They prepare. Always. The council voted once more, and this time, the result was unanimous. A fleet of surveillance drones and scout ships would be sent to investigate Mars and its nearby moons. Back on Mars, Admiral Kane received a coded transmission from a sympathizer inside the council. They are sending drones, the message said. Your time is short. Kane immediately called an emergency meeting with Lara Voss and his senior officers. "We knew this day would come," he said. "We cannot stop their probes from arriving, but we can make sure they find nothing." Lara nodded but looked worried. "We can hide our ship's power signature, but not the metal. The scanners will detect the alloy in the crust." Kane thought for a moment. "Then we'll give them something else to find." The humans began to build decoys, massive underground chambers filled with fake structures and false machinery. Old mining rigs were dressed up to look like failed experiments. They even released controlled energy bursts to confuse sensors. The idea was to make the aliens believe Earth was working on harmless industrial projects. A week later, the first alien drones arrived in Mars orbit. They scanned for several hours, sending bright blue beams through the surface. Everyone in the underground base watched nervously. The ship, now called Unit 1, was hidden beneath a layer of thermal shielding, its systems powered down to near zero. The hum of its core was so faint it sounded like a heartbeat in a dream. "Power levels steady," Lara whispered. "They shouldn't detect us." Kane stared at the screens showing the alien drones above. "Shouldn't is not good enough," he said softly. For 2 days the drones scanned the region, mapping every inch of the terrain. Then one of them changed course unexpectedly and began to descend. "It's coming straight for us," a technician shouted. The drone landed only 2 kilometers away from the hidden entrance. It extended its sensors and began drilling into the ground. Lara's hands trembled as she tried to redirect underground heat vents to create interference. "If it drills any deeper, it'll hit the upper tunnels," she said. "Then we're finished." Kane clenched his fists. "Activate the static shield." A pulse of electromagnetic energy spread through the area, disrupting the drone's systems. On the surface, the machine froze for a few seconds, its lights flickering. Then it powered down and stopped moving completely. "Signal jam successful," Lara reported. "It'll take them days to realize what happened." But their victory was short-lived. Another drone recorded the sudden power surge and transmitted the data back to the Council before being jammed. That was all it took. When the Council analyzed the readings, they saw the pattern, a short, precise burst of human-made energy, far beyond normal mining output. "Proof," Xyler hissed. "They are hiding something beneath Mars." The Council prepared its response. Within a week, a full reconnaissance fleet was assembled. Meanwhile, Admiral Kane gathered his officers. "They will come soon," he said. "They know something is down here." Lara frowned. "We can't move the ship yet. The engines aren't ready." Kane nodded. "Then we hide one last time." They expanded the shield network, creating a false magnetic field that mimicked natural Martian patterns. At the same time, they broadcast fake mining transmissions to make the surface seem busy. The humans worked around the clock, tired but driven. On the 7th night, the alien reconnaissance fleet arrived. 12 ships entered orbit, their massive forms glowing in the thin Martian sky. The aliens launched hundreds of drones that swarmed across the surface like metal locusts. Every scan, every signal felt like a knife at humanity's throat. "Shut down all non-essential systems," Kane ordered. "Let them see nothing." Hours passed like years. Then, just when it seemed the aliens might leave, a single probe detected something strange, a flicker of reflected light deep under the ground. It sent the image to the flagship before being lost to interference. The alien commander studied the data carefully. "Something is buried under those rocks," he said. "Inform the Council. We will demand answers." Days later, the Galactic Council sent an official message to Earth. The voice of Xyler filled every communication channel. "We have detected illegal activity on Mars. Cease all operations immediately or face sanctions. The Council will not tolerate disobedience." On Earth, protests erupted again. People demanded to know if the rumors were true. The United Earth Command stayed silent, pretending innocence. But Admiral Kane watched the Council's message from his command center on the moon and smiled faintly. "They've seen shadows," he said. "They still don't know what's coming." Lara looked at him, confused. We're not ready to fight. Kane turned to the holographic display showing the massive unfinished ship. We won't fight, he said quietly. Not yet. But soon, they'll see what humanity can build in the dark. The camera feed zoomed in on the ship's hull, now engraved with a name chosen by the engineers. For the first time, the words glowed across the armor in soft white light, the unyielding dawn. Humanity's first forbidden warship had finally been born, hidden beneath the red sands of Mars, waiting for the day it would rise. The red planet slept under a silent sky, but deep beneath its surface, the heartbeat of something new echoed through the tunnels. The unyielding dawn was alive. Months had passed since the Council's warning, and the humans knew the fragile peace would not last. The alien fleets were growing restless, their probes circling Mars like hungry vultures. Humanity had no choice but to prepare for the inevitable. Inside the hidden hangars, engineers and soldiers worked without rest. The vast chamber buzzed with the hum of machines and the hiss of plasma welders. The unyielding dawn stood at the center, her massive frame glowing faintly under the floodlights. She was unlike any ship ever built by man. Her black armor was made of a newly discovered alloy, adaptive metal that could absorb energy and shift its structure to repair damage. Her engines used a hybrid quantum core capable of silent propulsion, making her invisible to most alien sensors. She was a warship disguised as a ghost, a weapon born from human defiance. Lara Voss stood on a maintenance platform near the ship's bow, staring at the massive vessel that had consumed years of her life. She could hardly believe it was real. She's beautiful, whispered her assistant Eric. And terrifying, Lara replied softly. The Council wanted to stop us from building weapons, but what they did was teach us how to build smarter ones. On the moon, Admiral Kane monitored the final tests through encrypted channels. Every system report brought a faint smile to his tired face. We've done it, he said quietly to his staff. They called us reckless children. Now, they'll see what those children can create. But even as he spoke, he knew the danger was rising. The Galactic Council had sent more patrols to the solar frontier. Any mistake could expose everything. For now, the unyielding dawn had to stay hidden. The ship was completed but untested, her engines never ignited, her weapons never fired. She was a sleeping titan waiting for her first breath. One night, a message arrived from a listening post near Jupiter. A Council scout ship was heading toward Mars. It wasn't a drone this time, it was a manned vessel, larger and more persistent. If they discovered the base, all of humanity's secrets would be exposed. Kane gathered his command officers in the lunar war room. We can't allow them to reach Mars' orbit, he said. But we can't destroy them either. That would confirm our guilt. Lara appeared on the holoscreen from the Mars base. The unyielding dawn can move, she said. Not far, but far enough to hide deeper underground. Kane shook his head. No. Moving risks exposure. We'll try something else. After long silence, he looked at her with a strange expression. Maybe it's time for her first flight. Everyone stared in disbelief. Lara hesitated. Sir, the ship's systems haven't been tested. The stealth field is uncalibrated. If anything goes wrong, then we lose everything, Kane interrupted. But if we don't try, the Council will find us anyway. His voice hardened. Prepare the ship for silent launch. Hours later, alarms sounded across the Martian tunnels as the hangar doors began to open for the first time. Dust and red light flooded in as the ceiling split apart, revealing the night sky. Engineers ran to their stations, shouting commands. The unyielding dawn hummed softly, her engines flickering to life. The floor trembled as power surged through her systems. Lara stood on the bridge, heart pounding, surrounded by glowing consoles. Argus, the ship's AI, spoke in its calm mechanical voice. Core stable. Cloaking field at 50%. Awaiting orders. Begin ascent, Lara said quietly. Let's take her home. Slowly, the giant ship rose from the ground. The walls shook as the hangar filled with dust and heat. For the first time, the humans watched their creation lift into the open Martian sky. To any satellite above, it looked like a faint ripple of light, nothing more than atmospheric distortion. The cloaking worked perfectly. "We're invisible," Lara whispered in awe. As the ship climbed higher, its engines faded to a whisper. In orbit, the approaching Council scout ship detected a small gravitational anomaly, but its sensors found nothing solid. The alien commander frowned. "Strange readings," he muttered. "Run another scan." But by then, the unyielding dawn had already moved behind Mars' shadow, completely undetectable. Humanity's secret was safe. For now. Admiral Kane watched the data from the moon and exhaled slowly. "She flies," he said. "And she hides. The perfect balance." He turned to his officers. "Send word to all colonies. Phase 2 of Iron Dawn begins." Across the solar system, hidden factories and asteroid bases came alive. New ships were being built, smaller than the unyielding dawn but faster, more efficient. Humanity's fleet was no longer a dream. It was becoming a force. But the Galactic Council was not blind. Their spies in human space reported missing materials, strange power readings, and new shipyard activity. Xyler, the council speaker, read the reports with cold fury. "They are defying us," he said. "Humanity grows bolder every cycle. We must act before they threaten us all." He ordered the deployment of observation fleets to every human colony. Soon, the stars around Earth filled with alien patrols. On Mars, the unyielding dawn drifted silently in orbit, its systems cold and hidden. On the bridge, Lara looked out at the endless stars. "They're coming," she said softly. Admiral Kane's voice echoed over the comms. "Then let them come. They banned us because they feared what we might build. Now, let them fear what we have built." The crew stared at the ship's controls as the AI's voice filled the room. Power surge detected in alien fleets. Multiple targets approaching Earth's sector. Kane's words came sharp and clear. "Then it's time. No more hiding." The unyielding dawn turned its bow toward Earth's orbit, engines warming quietly. Its black hull shimmered as the cloak retracted. For the first time, the ship's full form was revealed to the stars, a massive human warship, elegant and deadly. The aliens had forbidden humanity from building warships, but their command had come too late. The first of the Forbidden Fleet now sailed openly in the void. The unyielding dawn was ready for war. The moment humanity had feared and prepared for finally arrived. The Galactic Council declared that Earth had violated the Interstellar Peace Act. Their message was cold and final: you were warned. The punishment for disobedience is annihilation. Within days, a massive alien fleet began to assemble near Jupiter's orbit, hundreds of ships from 10 different species, each armed with technology far beyond anything humanity had faced before. The Council expected an easy victory. They believed humans were still weak, their ships primitive, their weapons useless against advanced alien shields. But they were wrong. Humanity had built something the galaxy had never seen before. In secret bases on Mars, the Moon, and hidden stations across the asteroid belt, the Iron Dawn fleet came alive. The unyielding dawn stood at its center, glowing faintly in the darkness. 2 other ships, the Iron Star and the Horizon's Edge, had been completed just in time. They were smaller but faster, each carrying the same adaptive armor and stealth cores. Humanity had only 3 warships, while the Council had hundreds. Yet Admiral Kane's voice was calm as he addressed the fleet from the command bridge of the unyielding dawn. "They think we are outnumbered," he said. "They think their power will crush us. But they have forgotten who we are. We are human. We do not surrender. We build, we adapt, we endure." His words spread across the fleet, reaching every pilot and engineer, every soldier waiting for battle. On the other side of the solar system, the alien commander, a tall, scaled creature named Velrath, watched his screens as the human fleet came into view. "Only 3 ships," he laughed. "This will be over in minutes." His officers agreed. The Council had never lost a battle. But as the alien fleet moved forward, the sensors began to fail. The human ships were flickering in and out of detection, appearing in multiple places at once. "Our scanners can't lock onto them," shouted an officer. "Their signal keeps vanishing." Velrath frowned. "Impossible. Humans can't cloak ships." But then the unyielding dawn appeared directly in front of his command cruiser, less than 1,000 kilometers away. The massive human warship hovered in silence, its dark hull absorbing every trace of light. Before Velrath could react, the unyielding dawn fired. A blinding beam of compressed plasma tore through space, cutting 2 alien frigates in half instantly. The explosion sent shockwaves through the Council's formation. "Return fire!" Velrath roared. Dozens of alien ships launched energy blasts and missiles, but the human ship moved like a living shadow. Its armor shimmered, absorbing and redirecting the attacks. Missiles exploded harmlessly against its adaptive field. Lara Voss, standing beside Kane on the bridge, watched the chaos unfold. "Their firepower is immense," she said. "Our shields won't hold forever." Kane nodded. "Then we don't let them shoot. Target their command network. Cut off their coordination." The Horizon's Edge and Iron Star moved into formation, weaving between enemy ships with impossible precision. Using advanced AI coordination, the human fleet struck faster than any organic pilot could react. In less than 5 minutes, 12 alien cruisers were disabled. The galaxy was watching. Live feeds from the Council fleet were transmitted across thousands of worlds. Billions of aliens saw the impossible, 3 human ships fighting an entire armada and winning. On Orion Prime, Speaker Zyler watched in disbelief. "How can this be?" he hissed. "They were forbidden from building warships." An aide whispered, "Perhaps that was our mistake." Back in battle, Velrath's fury grew. "Focus fire on their lead vessel. Destroy that abomination." The alien fleet concentrated its power on the unyielding dawn. Massive energy blasts struck its hull, shaking the ship violently. Sparks flew across the bridge. Lara struggled to stay on her feet. "Shields at 40%, she shouted. "We can't take another direct hit." Kane looked at her calmly. "Then we stop running." He turned to the AI console. "Argus, initiate maneuver Nemesis." The AI's voice replied, "Confirmed." "Engaging Nemesis protocol." Suddenly, the unyielding dawn's entire hull shifted color, glowing deep crimson. Its engines roared, generating a magnetic storm that rippled across space. The ship charged forward, straight into the center of the alien fleet. "What are they doing?" Velrath shouted. "They're insane." But it was too late. The unyielding dawn released a pulse of pure energy that disabled all nearby ships' shields. The Iron Star and Horizon's Edge opened fire from the flanks, tearing through enemy lines. One by one, the Council ships exploded, their debris scattering into the void. When the light faded, half the alien fleet was gone. The other half began to retreat. Velrath stared in horror at the human warship, its black armor glowing in the wreckage. "This cannot be real," he whispered. On the unyielding dawn, Lara looked at the readings. "They're retreating," she said. "We did it." Kane shook his head. "No. This was just their first wave. They will come again, stronger." He walked to the front window, gazing at the drifting ruins. "But now, the galaxy knows. Humanity is not to be ordered. Not to be controlled." Lara watched the stars and said softly, "We were never meant to obey. We were meant to build." Across the galaxy, every world had heard the name of the ship that had defeated the Council's armada. The Unyielding Dawn. To some, it was a symbol of rebellion. To others, a sign of doom. The Council prepared a counterattack, summoning their greatest weapon, the dreadnought Sovereign Blade. A ship so massive that entire moons could fit inside its hangar. It was the pride of the Galactic Council, and it was on its way to Earth. Humanity had won its first battle, but the war was just beginning. Admiral Kane looked at the stars and whispered, "They will bring their monster. Let them. The dawn will rise again." The victory near Jupiter had shaken the galaxy to its core. For the first time in history, the Galactic Council had suffered defeat, and not at the hands of an ancient empire or a cosmic anomaly, but by humans, the youngest and most underestimated race among the stars. Across countless worlds, people whispered the name of the ship that had done the impossible, the unyielding Dawn. Some called it a miracle. Others called it a threat that needed to be erased before it spread. The Council, humiliated and furious, gathered once again in the Great Hall of Orion Prime. The chamber was darker than before, filled with silent anger. Speaker Xyler slammed his clawed hand on the table. "Enough hesitation," he hissed. "Humanity defies us openly. Their technology is dangerous. Their defiance contagious. It ends now." From the shadows stepped the commander of the Council's ultimate weapon, High Marshal Vorin of the Vorin Dominion. "Then unleash the Sovereign Blade," he said calmly. The word sent a chill through the hall. The Sovereign Blade was the largest warship ever built, a dreadnought the size of a city. Forged over centuries and armed with weapons capable of vaporizing planets, it was a symbol of the Council's absolute power. No ship had ever survived a direct encounter with it. The decision was made. The Sovereign Blade was ordered to Earth. Its engines roared like thunder as it left its dock, casting a shadow across the stars. News of its movement reached Admiral Kane through human spies within the Council. When he saw the images, his face hardened. "They're sending their god of war," he said. "Then we'll show them what gods fear." On Mars, the human fleet was still recovering from the first battle. The unyielding Dawn's shields were damaged, and the Iron Star's engines were only half functional. But time was short. Kane ordered immediate repairs, knowing they had days at most before the dreadnought arrived. Lara Voss led the engineering teams, working without sleep. "If that monster reaches Earth orbit," she told her crew, "it will wipe out everything. We can't let that happen." "How do we fight something that can destroy a planet?" Eric asked quietly. Lara looked up from her tools, her eyes sharp. "By being smarter. By being human." 2 days later, the Sovereign Blade appeared on the edge of the solar system. Its arrival was like an eclipse, the stars themselves seemed to vanish in its shadow. Measuring over 50 kilometers long, it carried more firepower than all 3 human ships combined. Its commander, High Marshal Vorin, sent a message across all frequencies: "Humanity. You were given a chance to obey. Now you will be erased." The message was broadcast across every colony. Panic spread through the human networks, but Admiral Kane's voice soon followed. "This is not the end," he said. "This is our beginning. Stand fast. The Iron Dawn will rise again." The unyielding Dawn led the human fleet out from behind Mars, joining the Iron Star and Horizon's Edge. The 3 ships formed a triangle formation, facing the massive dreadnought head-on. "He's bigger than anything I've ever seen," Lara whispered on the bridge. "Size won't save him," Kane replied coldly. "We've beaten their fleets. We'll beat their pride." The battle began. The Sovereign Blade fired first, releasing a beam of energy that tore through space, grazing the Horizon's edge and nearly cutting it in two. The shockwave sent ripples through the fleet. "Damage report," Lara shouted. "Hull breach on Deck 7, but containment is holding." The human ships responded with coordinated strikes, firing plasma lances and magnetic torpedoes. The attacks hit the dreadnought's shields but barely dented them. It was like trying to wound a mountain. "Their shields are regenerating faster than we can damage them," said the weapons officer. Kane stared at the tactical display, thinking quickly. "Then we go inside the storm," he said. "Get us closer." The unyielding Dawn surged forward, weaving through enemy fire with impossible precision. Every hit it took was absorbed by its adaptive armor. The closer they got, the more dangerous it became. "Admiral, we can't take much more," Lara warned. "We have to fall back." "No," Kane said firmly. If we retreat, Earth dies. Suddenly, the Sovereign Blade opened its side hangars, releasing hundreds of smaller attack ships. The sky filled with fire as swarms of alien fighters surrounded the human fleet. The Horizon's Edge tried to cover the unyielding Dawn but was overwhelmed. Dozens of impacts shook its hull until finally, the ship exploded in a flash of light. Lara closed her eyes in pain. Horizon's Edge is gone. Kane's jaw tightened. She bought us time. Use it. The unyielding Dawn and Iron Star closed the distance to within 1,000 kilometers of the dreadnought. Now! Kane shouted. The Iron Star unleashed its full reactor charge, firing a massive EMP blast directly into the Sovereign Blade's shield generator. For the first time, the alien dreadnought's shields flickered. It's working! Lara yelled. But the victory was short-lived. The Sovereign Blade countered with its planet-buster weapon, a core cannon capable of burning through moons. The blast struck the Iron Star head-on, vaporizing it instantly. The shockwave slammed into the unyielding Dawn, crippling its engines. Alarms blared. Fire erupted across the bridge. We've lost the Iron Star. Lara cried. Engines failing. We can't move. Kane looked at the screen, seeing the massive dreadnought turning toward Earth. No, he whispered. We're not done yet. He turned to Lara. Prepare the AI core merge. She froze. Admiral, that will overload our systems. The Dawn won't survive. Neither will Earth if we do nothing, he said firmly. Lara hesitated for only a second, then nodded. Initiating merge. The ship's AI, Argus, spoke calmly as power surged through the hull. Merging cores. All systems entering overdrive. Warning, structural integrity at critical. Energy poured from the unyielding Dawn's reactor, spreading across every deck. The ship's armor glowed white-hot. On the dreadnought's bridge, Vorin stared in disbelief. What are they doing? The unyielding Dawn charged straight toward the Sovereign Blade, its engines screaming. For Earth, Kane whispered. For humanity. The two ships collided in a blinding explosion that consumed half the battlefield. Light brighter than a sun filled the void, and for a moment, everything vanished. Silence followed. The massive dreadnought was gone. The unyielding Dawn was gone. The entire system went quiet. In that silence, a single message echoed across human and alien channels alike, transmitted automatically from the Dawn before it vanished: humanity does not kneel. For 3 days, the galaxy remained silent. The place where the unyielding Dawn and the Sovereign Blade had clashed was now a burning scar in space, a field of shattered metal and drifting debris. Across the stars, everyone waited for a signal, a sign, anything that told them what had survived. On Earth, billions watched the skies, hoping for a miracle. Humanity had given everything. The great ship that carried their hope, their defiance, their courage, was gone, or so it seemed. Admiral Kane, Lara Voss, and the crew of the unyielding Dawn had vanished in that final explosion, their fate unknown. The Galactic Council declared victory, broadcasting across every world that the rebellion of Earth had been crushed. Speaker Xyler stood before trillions of citizens, his voice calm but cold. The humans have been punished for their arrogance. Their fleet is gone. Their world will now accept peace, under our rule. But something in his tone betrayed unease. Deep down, he knew the truth: no one had found the wreck of the Sovereign Blade. No one had found the Dawn either. Somewhere in the void, beyond the reach of scanners and communication, a faint pulse began to beat. A tiny spark of energy blinked among the ruins. It was a signal, an SOS beacon repeating one message: Dawn Protocol active. Months passed. The Council rebuilt its strength, sending ships to monitor Earth. But strange rumors began to spread. Alien patrols vanished in the outer solar system. Sensor stations went dark. Traders whispered of shadows moving through the asteroid belt, of ghost signals that resembled human frequencies. The Council dismissed them as myths, but fear grew. On a cold, forgotten moon orbiting Saturn, Lara Voss opened her eyes. The room around her was dim, filled with flickering lights. She was lying in a stasis pod, her body weak but alive. Slowly, memories came back, the explosion, the collision, the blinding light. She turned her head and saw a cracked screen beside her flashing the words, "Unyielding Dawn, reconstruction at 42%. Her heart stopped. The ship had survived. Somehow, the AI Argus had activated an emergency self-repair system, using fragments of alien technology absorbed during the battle. Lara forced herself out of the pod, staggering through half-ruined corridors. "Argus," she whispered. "Status report." The AI's voice responded, faint but steady. "Commander Voss. Systems critical. Reactor at minimal output. Crew, 2 survivors detected." "Who?" she asked quickly. "Admiral Kane and you." Lara's breath caught. She ran to the medical bay. There, in another stasis pod, lay Admiral Kane. His vitals were weak but stable. Relief and grief mixed in her chest. "You stubborn man," she whispered. "You never quit." For weeks, Lara worked tirelessly, using what little power remained to rebuild critical systems. The AI guided her, repairing hull breaches and restoring communication arrays. Slowly, the unyielding dawn began to awaken. When Kane finally opened his eyes, the first thing he saw was the familiar dim light of the bridge ceiling. "How long?" he asked, his voice rough. 6 months, Lara said softly. "The explosion threw us into deep space. Argus kept us alive." Kane stood, still weak but determined. He looked out through the cracked observation window. The stars stretched endlessly before him, silent and cold. "The Council thinks we're dead," he said. Lara nodded. "Which means we have the element of surprise." Kane smiled faintly. "Then we use it." Over the next few months, the two of them worked with Argus to rebuild what remained of the Dawn. The ship was damaged beyond recognition, yet it had absorbed part of the Sovereign Blade's advanced energy core during the explosion. This fusion of human and alien technology made it more powerful than before. The new unyielding Dawn was reborn, not a symbol of survival, but of vengeance. While they rebuilt, messages from Earth reached them through long-range bursts. Humanity had changed. Inspired by the sacrifice of the Dawn, humans across colonies began to rise up. Small resistance fleets had formed, using modified mining ships and scavenged alien weapons. They called themselves the Iron Rebellion. Kane and Lara listened in silence as they heard human voices declaring independence, one after another. "We will not kneel," one message repeated. "The Dawn showed us who we are." "They don't need us anymore," Lara said softly. Kane shook his head. "They need hope. And hope always returns." The moment came when Argus announced, "Reconstruction complete. All systems functional. Power core stable." The unyielding Dawn glowed once again, her hull reforged, her engines burning brighter than ever. Kane stood at the command chair, eyes fixed on the navigation screen. "Plot course for Earth," he said. "It's time to go home." When the unyielding Dawn emerged from deep space, human colonies cheered. The legends had been true. The ship that had vanished into light had returned. Across the galaxy, alien leaders watched in fear. The Council's sensors detected the impossible signature, human energy mixed with alien design. Speaker Zyler stared at the readings, his voice trembling. "The Dawn, it still exists." "Impossible," said one aide. "The Sovereign Blade destroyed it." "Then what," Zyler whispered, "is coming toward us now?" On the bridge of the unyielding Dawn, Kane and Lara watched as their long-range sensors lit up. Dozens of human ships were converging toward Earth, each broadcasting the same symbol, the mark of the Dawn. "Looks like they've been busy," Lara said with a grin. Kane nodded. "Good. Because when the Council comes, we won't be alone." Argus chimed in, "Incoming transmission from Earth Command." They welcomed the Dawn home. Kane looked at the glowing planet ahead. "Tell them we're not coming home," he said. We're bringing the fight to the stars. As the engines roared to life, the unyielding dawn led the new human fleet into the void. For the first time in history, humanity wasn't hiding or defending, they were advancing. The galaxy that once silenced them would now hear their voice again, louder than ever. The dawn had fallen and risen, and now it carried a message that would echo forever: humanity endures, humanity fights, and humanity never dies.